Hello Aqua friends, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to make a blue Christmas card that has snowflakes on it. I am taking my deckled edge piece of watercolor paper and just securing it down. We are working wet on wet watercolor technique for this snowy background. I used combination of ultramarine blue and cobalt blue. It's a very pretty snowy blue. I think represents the bright Christmas kind of feel a lot. So while it's wet, I am dropping in all these different blues. Well, I'm just using the two. And notice it's spreading really nicely. And there's no rhyme or reason, you're just getting the paper saturated with this blue. The colors that I used are granulating a little bit. As you can see, it's sort of making a pattern. And there's a sheen to the paper. What I want to do is wait until that sheen goes away. So I'm moving that around so you can see how wet it is. So those are the granulating areas. It's gonna go really well with our theme. I am drying the paper a little bit just to get rid of some of that sheen. Okay, so when now the sheen is not so bad. But it's still wet. So I'm taking a little bit of water sprinkles on my fingers and I'm just flicking it onto the paper. This kind of represents little tiny snowflakes and it's a really nice effect. So the lettering that I'm going to put on the card, I'm just spraying it with a temporary adhesive. It just helps to keep my stencil in place a little bit. Going over the lettering, since I am left-handed, my writing capabilities are not so great, so I decided to use a stencil for that. But if your penmanship is really good, then I say go for it, and you can either take a pen and write Merry Christmas or whatever message you want on the front of your card, or you could paint it on. I kind of messed around with the stencil and I tried using markers on watercolor paper, but it has kind of fuzzy edges, which is not such a great thing for letters. So I skipped that idea, and using paint was a nicer effect. It's crisper. So I'm just drying that off, because the next part is the fun part. So I have a stencil of different snowflakes, as you can see, and I have my stamper dabber thing, my spongy dabber, and it is wet. It's not sopping wet, but it is damp. And see how nicely that just lifts, and it just adds another dimension to the background. It's just so pretty. So I'm continuing on with a damp sponger, and using the paper towel to dab it too helps to lift some of the paint. So this is called lifting in watercolor. We're lifting the paint off of the paper. And it's just a very soft, pretty effect. So have fun with this. You could put as many or as little snowflakes as you want. So the combination of the snowflakes and the blooms that we made by sprinkling water onto the paper, it just really, really looks great together. It does have that frosty, clean look to it. Going for a bigger sponge there to get that bigger snowflake. And then I'm just going over my lettering again with some of my blue, just to get it a little sharper. And that is it. You can take this card and attach it to another cardstock, or if you want to have the whole thing be the card itself, then you would just fold over your watercolor paper before you start painting it. So I hope you like this little tutorial, and I will see you next week.